Have you ever felt yourself turning into a monster amidst collapsing rules? Welcome, this is Bookspresso.
I would brew a strong cup of a book for you.
After the story of the book is over, I will ask you the same question again. Please share your story in the comments. And this is William Golding's novel, Lord of the Flies. The story begins during World War II when a plane carrying British schoolboys is shot down and crashes on a deserted island. Adrift on the deep blue sea, the boys are washed ashore on an unfamiliar beach, piecing together the memory of the horrific crash. When they realized they were left alone on an island with no adults, a sweet fantasy of freedom and liberation blossomed in their hearts. The boys no longer had to worry about adults or school rules. It was like a dream come true. With excited hearts, they explored the island. The wilderness of the nameless tropical island seemed to offer the boys endless possibilities. The sand on the beach was warm, and the endless coconut forest was mysterious. But soon the weight of reality began to press down on them. Hunger, cold, and the fear of an unknown mysterious being descended upon them. That's when Ralph appears. With blonde hair and blue eyes, he inspired trust in those who saw him. He possessed a beautiful appearance and a cool judgment. He thought that in order to survive on this island, order was necessary. Just then, he and Piggy discovered a huge conch-shell trumpet. Ralph learned how to blow the trumpet from Piggy and blew it with all his might. The mysterious sound broke the jungle's silence, gathering the scattered children one by one. As if enchanted by the sound of the conch, the boys flocked to Ralph. In this first meeting, the boys elected Ralph as their leader. Led by his charisma, the children regarded the sound of the conch he blew as the only link to civilization. Ralph, along with Piggy, created rules and suggested lighting a fire for everyone's safety. The fire was their only hope of being rescued. All the boys understood the importance of the fire. They all promised to watch over it. The remnants of civilization in their hearts, mixed with their survival instincts, ignited the flame of order. However, their resolve was weak. That's when Jack appears. Jack was a boy with red hair and a face full of freckles. He was the leader of the choir, but was not acknowledged, overshadowed by Ralph's charisma. He was enthusiastic about hunting and led a hunting party. He was faithful to instinct rather than reason, and gradually became an uncontrollable being in the thrill of the hunt. Jack's group covered their faces with animal hides and mud, trying to erase their identities. This meant a severance from civilization. Their eyes gradually turned savage. They were now engulfed in a fear of the beast and began to lose their reason. Jack's group, with a blind passion for hunting, abandoned order and duty. The fire that Ralph had desperately tried to protect was eventually extinguished in their indifference. Seeing a rescue ship pass in the distance, Ralph screams,
The fire went out. The fire we tried so hard to protect.
Jack just grinned. We can light the fire again anyway.
Hunting is more important.
We have to hunt to survive. Ralph's desperate cry vanished futilely before Jack's cynical smile. Now the children began to get more excited about Jack's hunting stories and savage dances than Ralph's words. For Jack's group, hunting was not just about securing food. It was a ritual to express the savagery they had hidden within. Their screams grew louder, and their dances became more frantic. They no longer feared the beast. They began to act like beasts themselves. Meanwhile, only Piggy, who symbolized reason and intellect, and Simon, a pure being, remained by Ralph's side. Piggy was fat and wore glasses, and he was always breathless from his asthma. The other boys despised Piggy, but Ralph trusted and relied on his wisdom. For Piggy, the conch was not just an object. It was the authority of adults, the last vestige of civilization that had to be protected. Piggy held the conch and shouted, "We have to act like adults on this island. We have to follow the rules." But Piggy's voice was already unheard by anyone. Simon was a pure and mysterious being. He always walked quietly through the forest, exploring the depths of the island. Simon instinctively knew that the reality of the beast was not an external fear, but was in the hearts of the boys. He knew the darkest secret of the island. The shadow of the beast swaying in the darkness was actually the parachute of a dead pilot. Simon ran to where the boys were gathered to reveal this truth, but was mistaken for the beast by Jack's frenzied group and was cruelly murdered. He sacrificed his soul to open the boys' eyes, but was instead trampled by their savage instincts. It was the moment a pure soul collapsed. The title of this novel, Lord of the Flies,
originates from the Hebrew Beelzebub, which means the king of demons in the Bible. The children on the island put a pig's head on a stick and offer it to the beast.
They called it the Lord of the Flies. Countless flies swarmed over the head, and it looked like a living demon. This Lord of the Flies symbolizes the savagery and violence hidden within the boys' inner selves. The Lord of the Flies whispers to Simon, "You know who I am, don't you?"
I exist within all of you. It tells him that the fear on the island did not come from the outside, but was born from the boys' own hearts.
The conflict between Ralph and Jack was a clash of reason and instinct, and in the end, Jack's group chased Ralph and Piggy away. Piggy, holding the conch, went towards Jack's group. He held on to his last remaining reason and appealed to the boys. If we go with the conch, they'll regain their reason. But his words were already meaningless. One of Jack's group rolled a large rock and attacked Piggy. The rock hit Piggy and he fell off the cliff to his death. The conch in his hand also shattered into pieces. It was the sound of all hope and order on the island collapsing. Now alone, Ralph is chased by Jack's group and feels himself turning into a beast.
He thought, I was afraid of myself changing. I'm no longer Ralph. I'm just an animal running away to live. Piggy, Simon, is this image you're seeing really us?
Ralph ran desperately. He raced through the forest, avoiding the relentless shadow of savagery chasing him. His body and mind had already reached their limit. He fell into despair when he realized there was nowhere left to run. Just then, when he finally came out to the beach, he found a huge naval officer. In front of his eyes stood a symbol of civilization, as if from another world. The boy shed tears of relief, but his tears were not tears of joy. They were tears mixed with despair and sadness from a boy who had already experienced terrible savagery. The naval officer was surprised to see the boy's appearance. Their dirty clothes, tangled hair, and eyes filled with terror. He asked the boys what had happened, but the boys could not answer. Their eyes were already stained with the wounds of savagery. Through this novel, William Golding poses a fundamental question about human nature.
Are humans good only within the framework of civilization?
If that framework collapses, what will humans become? Lord of the Flies shows a terrible answer to this very question. We can all be Ralph, and we can all be Jack. The savagery we often talk about is not something far away. It might be the latent demon hidden inside all of us. Perhaps William Golding is warning us that we ourselves can become the Lord of the Flies. Now I ask you, have you ever felt yourself turning into a monster amidst collapsing rules? This was Bookspresso. Thank you.